Hey, greetings, Cap fans, and welcome to a very, very special episode of the Captain America Comic Book Fans Podcast. It is episode 200, and I'm very excited to be here today. I'm your host, I'm Rick Verbonis, and I've got the best gosh darn co-host out there. That's Mr. Bob Lucius. Oh, Bob, you haven't lost your touch, kid. I've still got the best partner in this rough and tumble business.
I have no idea what that is. And I watch Grit. So
Ah,
I have no idea.
no?
No.
Uh, it's Captain America talking
Yeah.
to Bucky
And what in what medium?
in a comic.
Which comic was that?
Well, Bob, I'm glad you asked. It is Captain America's bicentennial
Oh my
battles.
gosh.
And we're not celebrating 200 years, but
Yeah.
we are celebrating
Very
200
nice.
episodes.
Very nice.
So I figured this was a really good way to celebrate 200.
Mm.
And what better quote than the one where Cap is referring to his best partner in this rough and tumble business, and that's you, Bob Lucius.
Wow. Very gracious. Very gracious, number one. And number two, like, why haven't we done that one yet?
Oh, we kind of did it because you did a story with Mr. Buddha in it, and
Oh, yeah, we
that
did.
was
Yeah.
good enough for me. I'm sure we'll get to it, Bob.
We
I'm sure
probably
we will get
eventually.
to it one of these days. And we'll have to,
Odds are
we'll
with
we'll
us.
pick a story from it.
Yeah.
Yeah, and
Johnny
I mean,
Appleseed. Yeah.
yeah, or
Right.
something like that. We're not going to
Right.
do all of it. I mean,
Right.
it's uh
They came
but
out with that. They reprinted that recently, right? Was
oh,
it a
did they
year ago?
really?
Yeah, about a year ago. They came out with a reprinted. Yeah, I guess they're called
Just the issue of the
facsimiles.
comic, or was it collected in something?
No, just the issue. Yeah,
Hmm.
because I have one. I mean, I have the original, but I also
Yeah,
ordered. The fact. I don't know why, but I did.
because you're a completist, Bob.
FOMO. Fear of missing
Yeah.
out. That's me. So yeah.
It's funny you said FOMO and then you had to explain what FOMO stood for. And
It's for the older folks
yeah,
listening.
I gotta tell you, I don't
Yeah.
think I knew what that stood for till like maybe 3 years ago.
Really? Yeah.
So I think like I don't know, it hasn't been around that
Yeah.
long, but I'm pretty sure like the first 6 months, 12 months, I
Yeah.
had no idea what that meant.
Oh yeah. Well,
And
I
then,
have about once a week. I sit down with my son to go over the recent lingo. So
so Bob, back when we had Chip Zdarsky
uh,
on the show, I think there was something in there where you were talking about getting the lingo with your son.
uh-huh.
And so we actually got a comment on our YouTube channel for that. It was episode 182 when Chip Zdarsky came on,
Hmm.
and it was Joshua Van Dyne, and he commented, "At least Bob didn't say that Avengers Twilight is bussin'." He
I
says
don't even know
this.
what that means.
He says this may be the get off my lawn old man in me, but that's one word I can't stand.
Bussin. Huh?
Yeah.
So what does it mean?
I don't know. I didn't look it up.
Oh,
I've
I gotta look it up now.
I guess so.
Yeah.
I know I've heard it before. Uh
Extremely good. It means extremely good.
yeah.
Yeah.
So
Uh,
did you think that episode was bussin'?
it was bussin for
All right.
sure. Yeah.
Don't
It,
don't
it had
mix decades and go for sure.
it had the Riz, you know?
I so many different things I could say right now.
Right.
But I'm not going to do that.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah.
I can't help it. I'm a cunning linguist.
Ah.
Yeah.
Oh, by the way, was it last episode? No, 2 episodes ago, we talked about Saturday Night Live's Colonel Angus,
Yeah. Yes.
and I went ahead. I was like, I got to watch this again.
Yeah.
I'm busting out laughing, and I find a video of this lady who did first reactions,
Yeah.
right? And so she just plays popular stuff, and you get to see her reaction for the first time hearing.
Right.
And her reaction to all the different double entendres
Yeah.
was hilarious.
Yeah. That's awesome. We
Yeah.
we we watched some SNL skits this weekend too. So I think I told you my son has been he's going into high school, Rick, and he wants to play football. Now he's never played football in his life, never watched football, but to his credit, they've been doing like practice all summer. So he goes every morning, 5 days a week for conditioning, and then this week they start the actual practices. So
Hmm.
he's doing that too, and he was super excited because today he got his helmet and he got his jersey and all that jazz, right? So we were like, naturally the wheels are turning in my mind, like, what are we going to do for this year's photo
Can
Christmas?
I just stop you here for a
Yeah.
second? Um, Bob, I know you're not a sports guy,
Mm-hmm.
but saying he got his helmet and his jersey and all that jazz, I think you're mixing metaphors here slightly.
Am I?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe you could have said the whole 9 yards,
Oh, yeah. All right.
right?
Yeah.
I don't
Okay.
know.
Yeah.
But go ahead,
All right.
continue.
Anyway, he got his stuff, and so we're thinking this weekend, like, what are we going to do for this year's family photo Christmas card? Because it's usually the three of
Wait a
us.
minute, wait a minute.
Yeah.
It's
Oh,
July.
I got to plan ahead, man. I got to.
You, this is you? This isn't Casey?
No, this is me because this. I
You're the planner of the
Yeah,
Christmas card?
yeah, I am. Yeah, because we got to get the picture. We got it's a whole thing. We got to figure out what we're going to do. It's not like, oh, hey, what picture are we going to use? And we try to like think through this through. So, and I used to like Photoshop the cats in, but she doesn't let me do that anymore.
Uh-huh.
So, in any case, so I decided this is what we're going to do. We're going to have Bobby in his uniform,
Mm-hmm.
the helmet,
Mm-hmm.
jersey, the whole 9 yards, Rick. And then Casey and I are going to be the cheerleaders from SNL. Do you remember those skits?
Oh
Will
yeah,
Ferrell and Sherry
totally.
O'Terry.
Yeah.
I've already ordered the costumes.
No.
Yeah,
Dude, that is over the top.
yeah, yeah. And Bobby said, I may not be able to bring this stuff home. You might have to come to the game. And I'm like, no problem.
He's gonna regret saying
Oh, I
that.
know. Yeah. So
You
it's
gonna show up to the game with those?
yeah, absolutely.
Do you
Yeah.
think Casey will do it?
She'll do it if I do it. Yeah. Yeah. So, and it's a
Yeah.
twofer because, we always serve alcohol. Halloween, we have a
Yeah,
devil's
right, right.
table of
Yeah, yeah.
alcohol. So,
The
so,
shooters and all
so
that.
we
Yeah.
got, we got costumes this year for Halloween as well. So,
Oh, is that how you explained it to Casey? It's like,
yeah,
oh, it'll be a double thing.
it'll be a double thing. Yeah. Cause,
Yeah.
yeah, she's a penny pincher. So, and like, it's a BOGO. So, yeah,
I
very
can't wait to
excited.
see the two
Very
of you
excited.
in those costumes.
Oh,
That'd
yeah.
be hilarious. Hilarious.
Yeah.
You gonna have a cheer?
I think we'll definitely come up with a cheer. Yeah,
Oh, that's awesome.
for sure.
So the closest thing I think I ever did to that was back when my son Hayden was maybe 3. Yeah, something like that. And I had just opened the comic book store. And my wife was like, all right, well, we got to do a Christmas photo with the 3 of us. And I don't know who came up with it. Maybe she did, about let's have a picture at the comic book store,
Mhm.
because I think at the time she thought it was really cool.
Yeah.
It was that,
Mhm.
her husband had this business and, whatever. And so we go there and, we, of course, we have like a little Santa hat or whatever, and 3 of us all sit together and we're supposed to hold a comic. And my idea was that we would all be holding inappropriate comics or against stereotype,
Yeah.
right?
Okay.
So I'm there with a Powerpuff Girl comic.
Okay. Yep.
My wife is there with a heavy metal magazine,
Yeah.
and Hayden's there with a Punisher Max comic.
I
And
like that.
we're all holding the comics.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think I found the photo recently.
Yeah.
You know what, listeners, if you are watching this, whether it's on Spotify or YouTube, I will
Yeah.
post a picture of this and probably get in trouble.
So it was Powder Puff Girl, not Power Girl.
Powerpuff Girls.
Okay, okay. Just
What did
want
I
to.
say?
Well, that's what I thought you said, but I thought isn't it Power Girl who has the really large
No, it wasn't Power Girl.
shoulder pads?
It was
Yeah.
Powerpuff
Oh,
Girls.
okay, okay.
Yes. Yes. Bob, I'm really excited for today's episode
Mm,
because we are doing something that we haven't done before, but it's been something that's been on our bucket list for quite some time. And that is we are doing our first community theater. And so, what is that? Well, we are covering Captain America 400 and 401, which is the end of the Galactic Storm story
mhm.
in the Captain America tie-in, and then 401 is kind of like an epilogue, and it's a fairly dramatic story, huge cast of characters,
Yep.
and so we decided to do that because we had so many people who sent their audition tapes in. Audition tapes. Listen to
Yeah.
me.
Yeah.
Uh,
How come I had to send you photos? Stuff with that. Made me very uncomfortable, but
Well, have I shown you my casting couch? Anyway, so we had so many people. I think, I don't know, 13, 14 people who were part of
Mhm.
this. So it's amazing. And we also have a fantastic director in Michael Udlick, who is a patron of the show. And he offered his volunteered his services a little while back. And I was like, when I get some time, well, because I knew this is a little bit of a, we had the commitment, right?
Yeah, right.
To do
Yeah.
this, and so because we have auditions, we have rehearsals, editing process, all that stuff. But it all culminates in today this really cool audio drama that we're going to do with all these different voice
Mhm.
actors and you supplying the sound effects. And when I say supplying, finding
Yes.
the sound
Yeah.
effects.
Yeah.
We're not going to hear a bam. We're actually going to hear a gunshot, sound
Yeah.
that you
Yeah.
did all the legwork on that. So thank you for that.
Yeah. 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 It really was amazing because just seeing everybody on a Zoom call together was pretty cool, and
Yeah.
everybody was so hyped and in their best Captain America garb, and really just wanting to do a good job and calling it a community theater. I mean, that's precisely what it is because we're a community, right? Whether it's in the Facebook group or the podcast audience, it's a community of Cap fans, and providing that opportunity for them to come together and just collaborate together to make something special. That's really cool.
100%. And we had a few people who kind of went above and beyond and pitched in to help write the script to make it a little bit easier for us. And so people put in extra time to do their own personal rehearsals, maybe to soundproof their room a little bit to make it sound better.
Mm-hmm.
People put a lot of effort in this. So people have some screenshots, like you said, the t-shirts, things like that. So
Yeah.
anyway, it's going to be a lot of fun, and I can't wait to get to it. But
Yeah.
before we do, it's our 200th episode, Bob.
Really.
I can't believe, what is it, 3.5 years?
You're right. You're right. Is that how long it's been? Oh my goodness.
Yeah,
That explains all my gray hair.
yeah. We've been on this journey for 3.5 years, and really, really excited that we made it to episode 200. I thought it'd be kind of cool, maybe to kind of look back over the last 199 episodes, just for a few minutes here, and kind of talk about some of our favorites or some memories or things like that.
Yeah.
And so we did this year launch a YouTube channel, which was long time overdue, and I did make it into what they call playlists,
Mm,
and
what
just to
the
make,
kids call playlists.
yeah,
Yeah.
exactly,
Yeah.
on the YT. It's funny. It's like we go to YouTube and it's like No one goes on YouTube anymore.
That's right.
If you're not on the talk. Anyway, so on the playlist, so you can go there and it's they're separated for you. There is the audio podcast. So every one of our audio podcasts is listed there. If you just want to listen on YouTube, you can do that. But if you want to watch the videos, I broke them out also into other playlists. So we have our panel by panel dramas, right?
Mm-hmm.
These are the
Yeah.
ones where this is two-thirds of our episodes are panel by panel dramas where we pick a comic or a few comics and then we go through and we act it out panel by panel. We talk about it. There's a few tangents here or there, and then we kind of discuss it at the end. Then there is something we started, I think it was this year, called recaps. And a recap is when we don't act it out panel by panel, but instead just talk about the comics. And so we've done a few of those, and we've got another one coming up soon. So I'll talk about that in a minute. Then we have our interviews, right? So we have typically the first Wednesday of every month. We have a special creator on the show. Most of the time, it's a comic book creator. Every once in a while, we'll have a novelist on. So we've done I want to say, we've had over 36 different creators on the show, and some of them have come back, a second or a third time. So we must have done something right.
Right. Yeah.
So we have all those, and then there's our specials, right? So our specials, we've done a couple dozen of those, and they could be anywhere from a top 10 list to having our listeners on the show. So we've done these things we call nightcaps for our super soldiers, where they pick the topic. We've had art captivated, which we're overdue. We got to do some more of those. And then we've had some call-in shows. We've had, uh, uh, I would say, it was actually, we did fun was we had the wives on.
We did have the wives on. Yes.
Yeah, and we
Yeah.
had that.
And your
Uh,
buddy's on.
yeah, exactly. So anyway,
Yeah.
I thought it'd be kind of fun if because again, people can go to YouTube and they can see these categories. Maybe you and I could talk a little bit about some of highlights over the last 199 episodes. Does anything stand out to you? Any particular category?
Oh my gosh, Rick. Every one of the categories has some shows that are near and dear to my heart, and they're probably not the ones that you would expect, because I come at this as but don't take this the wrong way, because I'm sure you come at it the same way. But like I come at it as like a fan, and I'm like, I'll give you an example. When I joined the Facebook group, Rick, I've been collecting Cap comics for a very long time, since I was like in middle school. And I had a bunch of comics, and I thought I would never, ever own a Captain America statue. So,
Bob, don't turn
yeah,
around.
don't turn around. Exactly, right? Don't turn around, right? Because there's some folks in the Facebook group who introduced me through their posts to this idea that like statues are pretty cool, and I never thought they were, and now look what's behind me, right? And so I'm always interested in like being introduced to things I hadn't thought of before about Captain America, different ways to collect, different ways to appreciate the character and the history and the mythos. And so when we do shows that I think might introduce people to some aspect of the character that maybe they're not familiar with, that really revs my engine. And so, we've done like a number of panel by panel dramas that are a little bit off the beaten path. And I really, really love those. So like when we did the Sentinel of Liberty, the volume 1 Sentinel of Liberty, I think it was issues 8 and 9. When we
With
first
Sam Wilson?
Yeah, when we first see Sam Wilson put on
Yeah.
Captain America's, I love that particular series because it's I think as Mark Waid described, it's the stories between the stories, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it's like the ones that happen in between the main continuity stories. And maybe folks hadn't read that volume before or even been aware of it, and or that story, and Sam Wilson putting on because we always think of what Captain America 25, right? Of Sam picking up the shield, but he actually wore that uniform briefly, way back then in volume one of that. So I love doing stories like that, and I love that She-Hulk story that we did,
Yeah, that
where
was a lot of fun.
and where
Yeah.
Miss Walters Esquire, defended Steve Rogers. And so those types of stories really, really excite me because sometimes I'm not even familiar with them. And so I'm being introduced to them for the first time. And so I know many of our listeners are.
Yeah, it's funny you should point that out because, recently, 2 episodes ago, we did Captain America and the first 13.
Yeah.
And this was a one shot that I think came out, it was 2011, and right around the time of First Avenger, the movie came out. And it was a one shot I was not familiar with, and so you introduced me to that. And I'm just going to read a couple comments here from the YouTube channel. James Foley commented, added the issue to my wish list. No idea why I never got it. Thanks, guys, for helping my wallet get later. Haha. Then Walter Cahill, he responded, I got to get this one. Didn't know anything about it. And then Jack Go Blue wrote, I could never go vegetarian. I enjoy meat with my veggies too much. But this one shot sounds like a must buy to me.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah.
That's great.
So
Second
there you
part.
go. So there's
Yeah.
second one, right? So right there, that's just proof that a lot of people appreciate some of these ones that they don't have in their collection.
Mhm.
And that reminds me, when we did the Taco Bell special,
Oh,
right?
right.
That was a comic that you could only get if you got like a Taco Bell Happy Meal or something like that. And
Yeah, right.
and then that end up, not only did we do that issue, but then was like, oh, well, we've got to get the creators on,
Right.
right?
Yeah.
And so next thing you know, we're interviewing
Scott
Scott
Koblish.
Scott Koblish,
Yeah.
the artist. He comes on,
Yeah.
and then I don't know, a year later, we get the writer Joe Caramanga,
Finally land him. Yeah.
yeah, on the show. So
Yeah.
it's things like that, right? That you're just not going to find any, all the other Captain America comic book podcasts out there. You're not going to
Yeah.
find the same thing.
No, none of the other self-respecting podcasts would do these stories, but we will.
That's right. That's right.
How about you, Rick? Anything stand out for you? Any
Well,
special
you were mentioning the panel by panel episodes, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, I still go back to when we covered Captain America 265, 266. It was that two-parter that had Spider-Man and Nick Fury in it.
Yep.
I look back on that one, and I think that's when we turned a corner.
Uh-huh.
And when I say that, I mean, like, we, I just remember laughing my butt off so much in that episode, and
Right.
we went over so many tangents, and
Had
I
plenty of
think
time as they were falling through the air.
yes, that's right, right. But it was doing that. I don't know. It brought so much joy to me,
Uh,
and I think some of our listeners maybe more than not enjoy the tangents,
yeah.
right? And they
Yeah.
enjoy hearing us just go off on things that maybe have nothing to do with the story we're
Right.
covering, but
Yeah.
something clicked, something sparked an idea, and we go off on these
Yeah.
tangents. And that's why, like, when I go back, I was like, what's the shortest episode we recorded and what's the longest episodes recorded,
Uh-huh.
right? It still blows my mind, Bob. One of the shorter episodes that we covered
Yeah.
was the Bloodstone Hunt.
Oh my goodness. Yeah.
That's a 6-part story. We did it in just under an hour, Bob.
that's That's amazing, actually.
Right? It was a
Yeah.
6-part story that we did. It was episode 3, by the way, if you want to check
Yeah.
it out. And we did the Bloodstone hunt. And now we do one issue and it's an hour and a half.
Yeah, that would never happen again. Yeah, if we were to redo the Bloodstone hunt, it would definitely have to be stretched out over several episodes
Yeah. Yeah.
to be done properly.
Yes,
Yeah,
indeed.
right.
Uh, and that's one of the things that we decided to do, right? We decided to do what we call these long tail stories, which we do the second Wednesday of every month, and we pick our listeners actually vote and they pick on what story they want us to cover, and we did the captain story,
Mm-hmm.
which was I think we started with the road to the captain, right? And
Yep.
that was, oh gosh, so we did basically Captain America 327 to 350, and we did them in um three issue chunks.
Yeah.
Never again. Never again.
Yeah.
I'm looking back at those, and like 3 of those episodes, 2.5 hours each.
Yeah. Yeah.
Do you know how long it takes me to edit that?
Yeah, I know it's a long process, and it's a long listening process for folks, you know.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Yeah.
I think the new format definitely is appreciated by folks
Yeah.
because they can get things in bite-sized chunks.
Yep. And the recaps too are kind of cool. We've only done 3 so far, right? We did the Captain America Theater of War one shots. We did the new JMS series. We had
Mm-hmm.
John Sewell come on, and we did issues 1 through 6, the first story arc. We did the first story arc of volume 6, which was the Ed Brubaker
Yeah.
story. And Bob, we got one coming up. I'm going to plug this so that
All
let
right.
the listeners know. We're going to be doing in 2 weeks, episode 202. We're going to be doing a recap. John Sewell's going to actually come back and join us,
I love when John joins us.
and it's a 5 issues Deadpool story, and it's a Deadpool volume 5 issues 15 through 19. And it's Deadpool, Wolverine, and Captain America story.
That sounds fun.
I mean, listen, we're all enjoying Deadpool, Wolverine, right? Why not have a Deadpool, Wolverine, Captain America story? So we'll be doing that in 2 weeks, and that will be a recap where we're just kind of recapping the stories and talking about the stories rather than go through them panel by panel.
Yeah, yeah, lots of fun, and having John, that's always a great time.
Yep. What about interviews,
Oh,
Bob? I mean, we've had, like I said, over 3 dozen different
yeah.
guests on, and any stand out to you?
We did one recently, Rick, that really just, man, it just made me so happy. And it's the one we did in episode 195 with Elliot R. Brown, the technical drawing guru of the Marvel universe. Man, I just loved that interview with him.
Me too.
And
Absolutely.
because we all grew up on that stuff, and like I just felt like he doesn't get the love in or the remembrance that he should get, right? And yet everything he did was so much a part of everything we read, always kind of in the background, but always there. And it was just great having the chance to talk to him and hear a little bit about the photographic covers that he worked on. Just really a joy, and he was just a joy to talk to.
He was a hoot.
He really was. Yeah.
If listen, anybody who hasn't listened to that episode yet, right? Like you said, 195, and you need to watch it, because his mannerisms, his expressions, his like leaning into the camera, and he's a hoot. He
Yeah.
absolutely, and you're right. He deserves the recognition, and we hope that we helped in just a little
Yeah.
way to help with that.
Yeah. Another one that really resonated with me is the one we did, episode 104, with Paulo Rivera.
Yeah.
And I know you've got some of his original art from Captain America Mythos. I've got a page. But to have the opportunity to hear about the process that he went through to research, to make that story so impactful, with lots of little Easter eggs in there, based on history, but also based on the Captain America story and his own personal family history. Man, it had me almost in tears by the end of that interview, because it was just so raw and authentic. And that one will always stand out to me as one of my most favorites.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. In fact, you just picked two of my favorites as well,
Oh,
and
I'll be
for
darned.
and it's okay for the very same reasons. And I think that's,
Yeah.
hey Bob, that's why you and I click so well in this show, because I think we have a, similar mentality on a lot of things.
Yeah.
And by all means, I mean, there was a, when you talk about some tears or almost tears, that includes Paolo, right? I mean,
Yeah.
he was raw. He was,
Yeah.
he was putting his heart on the sleeve for us. And uh, uh I really, really respected that and appreciated it. And
Hmm.
so I couldn't agree more. And of course, I go back to some of the big names that we've had on the show. We've had Jim Shooter, and boy, we had some really cool stories,
Yeah.
from Jim Shooter's point of view. That was big, and recommend people check that out. Mark Wade,
Oh yeah.
wow. I mean, talk
Mhm.
about a really established Captain America writer with all the different volumes that he worked on and the miniseries and so on. And just hearing him talk about, his reasoning behind the choices that he made, and why he would never write Captain America
Yeah.
again.
Right.
That was an amazing interview. That was episode 78 for people who want to check that out. But going back to, my childhood and
Yeah.
my introduction, you can't beat J.M. DeMatteis,
Yeah.
and hearing the stories behind the stories, of that I love so much. So
Yeah.
those are just some
Yeah.
highlights.
Yeah. And Roy Thomas, Steve Englehart. I mean, so many, Rick. And I got to give you credit, because you're the guy who goes out and lands all these interviews. You do all the legwork. You hunt these guys down. You hound them. You remind them. You schedule them, right? And
We
but I
don't
mean,
like to call it hounding,
no,
Bob.
no, no. Yeah, yeah. But
Yeah.
I mean, you do an amazing job getting these folks, and to a person, Rick, as you hinted at earlier, to a person, usually at the end of the interview, they're always like, "Wow, this has been a great interview." You ask questions that, like, they haven't been asked before, and given an opportunity to talk about things that nobody has asked them to talk about before. And I think often, like, they're super stoked by the end of the interview about what a great experience it's been. And as you pointed out, many of them have said, "Hey, I'll come back on the show," and some of them have.
And you know what else they love? They love the coin.
The
When we
coin.
send them the coin, they're very
Yeah,
appreciative of getting the what would Cap do coin.
yeah,
And so we send that out to our guests. And I gotta be, and for those who are out there who don't know, we have patrons who support the show. There are different levels that you can do, to kind of pitch in to help us cover our expenses, and we appreciate each and every single one of you. I just want to say that. And we have a new thing that we're going to be giving out. Bob, you went ahead and created a stickers.
yeah. That's right. Yeah. I mean, I decided, I got the coin, right?
Hmm.
But I wanted to display something on my car, Rick. I feel like, man, these are troubled times, right? And there's a lot of angst and anxiety and stress in the world, and I just wanted to have something on my car that reminded people that, like, man, this is what Captain America stands for. This is what we should stand for. Things that make a difference in our relationships with each other, our relationships with our community. And the world would be a better place if we all asked ourselves, what would Cap do when we're out there exercising empathy and humility and integrity and compassion and all those things. And I want to make these stickers and put them on my car as I drove around town.
Listen. I agree with the sentiment.
Yeah.
I love what you did there. And people in Central Florida, or South Central Florida, I'm just
Yeah.
going to say, if you see some more accidents happening,
Yeah.
that's
It's me.
because of Bob. People
Yeah.
are like, wait a minute,
Yeah.
does that say
I
perseverance?
know.
What is it?
Yeah.
Integrity?
Thing is, 85% of the people who live down here use reading glasses at this point.
Can
So,
they see over? Can they see over the wheel? I mean,
so
come
it's going to
on.
be a real challenge for. I wish they were bigger, but I had a coupon, so those are the stickers that we
Oh,
got.
that's what
Yeah.
she said.
Yeah.
Uh,
Right. Yeah.
but anyway, the stickers, like everybody's probably seen my cup here that I use during the show to hydrate. But you know what? This was my cup, but look, the sticker works perfectly on my
Yeah.
cup as well. So, um, yeah, we'll be giving those away, especially to our patrons. So make sure you stick around for that. Bob, one last thing. What about specials? Any specials stick
Oh.
out to you of the last 199 episodes?
Yeah, we've done the fantasy draft, right? A couple times.
Yeah.
And the most recent one really stood out to me. It was super fun because we had not just you and I, but we had Grant Baugh and Mark Domeyer. And so it was all four of us doing the fantasy draft. And that was episode 185.
Yep.
And that was a lot of fun, a lot of laughs, a lot of fun, a lot of creativity.
Yeah.
It was a great time to be had by all. And I think folks who listened to that show really, really had a good time too.
Yep. And then that was 185, and then 151 was the first one. It was just you and me.
Yeah.
And then coming up, Bob, in just a couple of weeks, 206, episode 206. So 6 weeks from now, we'll be doing our next Captain America comic book fans fantasy draft.
Mm.
I think we need to come up with a logo for it.
Oh, that's
right?
a good idea.
Because
Yeah.
it would be a good play on words, right? Captain America comic book fantasy draft instead of
Yeah.
fans
Yeah.
fantasy draft, right?
Right.
I don't
Yeah.
know, the marketing guy in me, right?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
So look for an announcement about that because we are looking for new people to join the league this year for us to do this draft. So that'd be coming up in the next few weeks.
Yeah.
And also getting back to interviews too. I'm just dropping the bag here, Bob. We're talking about the recap coming up. We're talking about the fantasy draft coming up. Might as well talk about the next interview we got coming up too,
Why
right?
not?
Steve Orlando, writer Steve Orlando. He's an award-winning, award-nominated writer, and he has done a ton of DC work, a ton of Marvel work. If Marvel, probably Scarlet Witch is the run that he's been doing recently, and he also did a series of one-shots for Man Thing that tied in. And guess what, Bob? In a couple episodes, we're going to cover the Avengers Man Thing one shot,
Awesome.
written by Steve Orlando.
Yeah.
And then the following week, we're going to have Steve on to talk about his upcoming Avengers Assemble miniseries starring Captain America as he recruits members to join a new Avengers team. So we thought it'd be fun to have Steve on.
It would. And I mean, those are some great writing chops, but he was also great when he played with Dawn.
No, that's a different Orlando, Bob.
Oh, is that a different one? Oh,
Yeah, yeah.
So
but you should totally bring that up to him when he's on.
I'm gonna knock 3 times on the ceiling. What? This isn't the guy?
No. Oh.
Yeah.
I'm still reeling on your Neil Sedaka story.
Oh.
All right, Bob. I think that's enough reminiscing for the first 199 episodes. Shall we get to the Captain America Community Theater?
Lift the curtain, buddy.
All right.
Two galactic empires, The militaristic Kree and the matriarchal Shi'ar are at war, a war that threatens all life on Earth. The mighty Avengers have split into two envoys to negotiate with the heads of each empire. In the group sent to the Kree Empire, Iron Man, Circe, Hercules, the Black Knight, Crystal, Goliath, and Captain America. Iron Man refuses to go along with the plan of going undercover in the Kree Citadel, leaving the remaining Avengers short-handed against the Kree. He makes the tough choice to leave Cap behind after he rescues the others because the mission is more important than one person. The war has reached a head with the imminent detonation of the Negabomb in the heart of the Kree galaxy. As yet, unaware of the impending doom, the Star-Spangled Avenger fights for his life on the Kree homeworld. The Cap Comic Fans Community Theater Group proudly presents an audio drama for your entertainment. Join Captain America in Operation Galactic Storm, Part 15, Murder by Decree. We join Captain America in the Citadel of Judgment, in the city of Kree-Lar, on Hala, capital of the Kree Empire. An explosion has just left Cap in the middle of the Citadel as it completely blasts apart and begins raining down shrapnel. It is complete chaos.
Explosion overhead. The roof's caving in. Nothing to do but ride the shockwave. Hit the wall. Still conscious. Nowhere to go. Debris still raining down. I'm going to be buried.
We leave Cap buried under debris and bodies as we turn our attention to 23,000 miles above Hala. Aboard Avenger's ship, we find Iron Man at the helm, Black Knight as co-pilot with Circe, Crystal, Hercules, and an unconscious Goliath. Black Knight is deep in thought.
No one said anything since liftoff. Guess we all feel bad about having to leave Cap behind. Iron Man probably feels the worst. He's the one who made the decision to take off. He's also the one who knocked Clint out when he refused to ditch Cap.
How fares ye, Crystal?
Still breathing, Hercules.
Just how hard did you hit him, Iron Man?
I used what I thought was appropriate force.
So that's it? We write Cap off for good?
I'll contact Quasar as soon as I can. Have him come back and retrieve him. Our priority is to locate that negabomb Deathbird told about and prevent it from detonating. That way, we save Cap as well as every other mother-loving Kree in the galaxy.
And what if we fail? Outer space is one heck of a big place, and if we don't happen to catch the bomb at the Stargate, then how...
Cap was getting out of tight scrapes before you were even born. He'll manage. I'd be willing to bet Tony Stark's fortune on it. Am I just whistling in the dark? Can Cap survive everything the Kree may throw at him? Will the blood of one of the greatest heroes the human race ever brought forth be on my conscience?
What happened? Where? Hey!
Elsewhere, we rejoin Cap as he regains consciousness and begins the process of remembering what has happened.
Where am I, to coin a cliche? When I passed out, I was buried beneath a pile of rubble. Mine's hazy. What happened? There was the explosion, and before that, 2 Kree policemen, the so-called accusers, led me from where the other Avengers were incarcerated, into the chamber of the Supreme Intelligence, newly reinstated head of the 1,000-world Kree Empire. On both sides of the chamber were bodies and tubes, the dead Kree whose minds he absorbed, perhaps. He addressed me in English. His voice rang in my head like a chorus of 1,000 metal hornets. What was it he said?
You who are about to die, I salute you. For only when you are dead can I...
And he never finished a sentence. The next moment, there was a big boom, and the wall of bodies blew in from both sides. I just caught a glimpse of the ceiling buckling before the shockwave caught me. And now, this. So dim, I can't see my hand in front of my face. but to judge by the sound my foot makes when I stamp, I'm in a large, empty chamber. Whoa, what?
King Cobra has attacked Cap and wrapped himself around him in his attack.
Got you!
That voice. Cobra?
That's King Cobra, you insipid Avenger!
You can't be here. I'm on an alien world. Whoever this is, he's got a grip like the real Cobra, and he keeps pummeling me with his steely tail.
I don't care where we are or how I got here, Captain. I'm just grateful to be out of prison and to have another chance at you. You ruined everything by bringing down the Serpent Society like you did. You made me a laughing stock among my peers.
He'll break a rib if I don't.
Out of nowhere, Cap takes a boot to the chin that knocks him backwards and to the ground, on top of King Cobra.
Bonjour, mon ami.
Batroc? Oh, come on. Now I know I'm hallucinating.
If I am just an illusion, then you will not mind when I land atop your rib cage.
Let my foot twist.
Ah!
Thanks, Bat. Okay, guys, you're not illusions. So what's that leave? Imposters? Androids?
It leaves you Pope.
Heard his cape rustle.
Cap swings his shield into his assailant's face.
Not sneaky enough, Flag Smasher.
First blood is yours, America, but victory shall ultimately belong to the ideological superior, and that, you patriot, is me.
That does look like blood coming from his nose, but that doesn't prove he's human, does it?
Cap's shield arm is wrapped in a whip as he turns to see.
Oh, great. The Viper, too.
Don't think I will let you die before I get my piece of you.
Looks like it's old villains night on the planet Hala. So how many of you are going to come slinking out of the shadows anyway? Don't be shy now. Come out wherever you are.
I am happy to oblige, Captain. It's the least I can do for my most worthy foe on the day of his demise.
What he said.
Cap is now surrounded.
Red Skull, Crossbones, King Cobra, Batroc, Flag Smasher, and the Viper, That's it? No Baron Zemo, Machinesmith, Sidewinder, Arnim Zola, Mr. Hyde? I'm particularly disappointed Armadillo didn't make it.
Cease your prattling, Captain. It ill becomes you.
So what's on the program? We all fight? 6 against 1?
Sounds about right to me.
No. First, we talk. It is because of you we are here, Captain. Inconveniently wrenched away from our affairs on Earth. Our alien abductors tell us that we must kill you before we will be permitted to return. I dislike being ordered about. What can you tell me about these Kree?
They brush after every meal?
You mock me. Kill him.
The Red Skull snaps his command and nobody moves.
Pansies. I'll do this myself. Yo, Big A, remember these? You managed to get over on me last time we went at it by yanking my mask askew.
Crossbones rips off the ties to his mask.
Well, Sweetums, I just want you to know you ain't gonna be able to pull the wool over my eyes twice, dig?
Only the real Crossbones would know how I defeated him last time. Is this legit? Are these really 6 of my most formidable foes teleported for the express purpose of killing me? Why would the Kree go to such great lengths?
Cap deflects Crossbones' first strike with his shield and a subsequent kick with his arm.
I must admit, Everyone here is a dead ringer, right down to fighting styles. Better stop questioning and go on the offensive. If these 6 are half as good as the people they seem to be, I'm in for the fight of my life. No time to pull punches. I've got to take them down so they'll stay down.
Yeah. Nice move, Cappy. Going for my throat with your overgrown frisbee. Too bad I caught it.
Ah, that hasn't happened often.
You're gonna let go of that thing, Cappy. Now.
Poof!
Cap takes a kick to the gut as Crossbones attempts to wrestle the shield away from him as King Cobra circles around.
Roll with it, whip around, right back at him.
Cap kicks himself free of Crossbones.
Finally got the clear shot.
Batroc slaps Cobra on the back of the head.
That was unsporting, Cobra. It is much more interesting to see the two of them go at it one-on-one, no?
Stop playing with him, Crossbones. Crush him.
I'm working on it, boss. No Shinola.
He's off balance, going down. Gotta yank my leg out from under him.
As both Cap and Crossbones hit the floor, Flag Smasher, King Cobra, and Batroc all move in to strike.
Time's up, buffoon. Now let a real fighter show you how to demolish a foe.
No! If anyone gets the next bout, it shall be moi.
Yes, I can finish him off with my cobra bites if you'll just stand clear for a moment.
The others are finally making their move. I can use that to my advantage.
Each man grab one of his...
Now it's a free-for-all. The 4 villains pile on to pin down Captain America, and finally, Cap finds himself pinned to the ground by the 4 men, with Red Skull and Viper surveying the scene.
My greatest enemy, totally helpless. It's been all too long since I last beheld this sight. Let me savor it.
I say we kill him at once. Every moment we delay, the chance that he will escape increases.
This arm ain't going nowhere, Vipes.
One blast to his unprotected face, and he'll be paralyzed.
If I didn't hate Captain America even more than I hate you, Skull, I would not be a party to anything you were a part of.
Vengeance makes for strange bedfellows, Smasher. Now then, Captain, I believe you know what this cigarette does. It is, after all, that turned a face identical to your own into this desk mask that now stares at me in the mirror. I believe this would be an appropriate time to beg for your life.
My right arm, free. Batroc let go?
At that very moment, Cap strikes the Red Skull with a right hook to the jaw, which causes his cigarette smoke to puff directly in Crossbones' face.
What?
What?
Cross has finally let go of my shield.
With both arms free, Cap is back in action. As he strikes Red Skull with his shield, Crossbones and Red Skull are down. And that leaves Flag Smasher, King Cobra, and Viper.
Flag, you're it. Once I down them all, then what? Unless I disable them, they're going to keep coming after. Ah! The Viper's whip, and Cobra's got me in his sights.
Cobra's venom shot hits Cap's shield and ricochets into Viper.
Oh.
Whip went slack.
Cap cracks Viper's whip right back into King Cobra's face.
Think how good I'd be if I practiced.
With Cobra and Viper both down and out, Cap turns his attention back to the Red Skull.
Uh-oh, the skull's stirring. I can rectify that.
There now only remains 2 people standing, Cap and Batroc.
Leaves you, Batroc. You let go of my arm. Why?
I may be a scoundrel, Captain, but I will not stand for the torture of so worthy a foe as yourself.
I need some truth, Batroc. Is it really you? You act exactly like I know the real George's Batroc to act. we're billions of miles from Earth. And I don't even think the Supreme Intelligence is powerful enough to teleport you all that way.
I am real, as far as I know.
Do me a favor. Remove your mask.
What will that prove? You've never seen my face.
I know. Yes, as I suspected, I conjured you up from my memory. Since I don't know what you look like underneath your mask, there's nothing there. Rick Jones once told me that he materialized figures from his memory while under the Supreme Intelligence's mental stimulation. They're fading. I must have.
With his attention distracted by the fading villains, Cap fails to notice
What?
the enormous presence of the Supreme Intelligence.
You have proven yourself to be a most resourceful enemy, Captain America. Not even the combined might of those you deem your worst enemies could vanquish you. A pity, for I wanted to bestow upon you the ultimate honor any warrior can have. I wanted to absorb your consciousness into my immortal group intellect. But this can only occur after the cessation of your corporeal functions, your death. Thus, I stimulated the latent reality-shaping potential locked in all Terran minds so you might give shape to your Deathbringers. But still you would not yield. Still you would not fall.
If I can just get my shield arm free.
Your insufferable desire for freedom, for independence, makes you an unsuitable subject for absorption. Be gone, Captain America. In the short time you have left to live, contemplate how you have squandered your chance for immortality.
What does he mean by the short time I have left to live? Surely he doesn't expect a mere fall from this height to kill me.
The Supreme Intelligence simply tosses Captain America away. Meanwhile, a starship towing an unimaginably powerful bomb passes through an alien stargate and enters the vicinity of Earth's sun. The ship's captain orders a course be set for the second stargate, a scant 10,000 miles away. On the other side of that stargate is the Kree Empire. It is there the bomb is to be detonated, and the Kree galaxy's 500 billion inhabitants to die from its fallout. This is the end of Captain America Volume 1, Issue 400. We now begin issue number 401. The Avengers have returned to Earth following the conclusion of Operation Galactic Storm, but the repercussions of that event will linger forever. Despite their efforts, the negabomb was detonated, killing billions of Kree. Upon learning that the detonation was manipulated by the Kree Supreme Intelligence to wipe out its own people, the Avengers are divided over how to react. Iron Man and a group of Avengers believe the Supreme Intelligence's actions warrant lethal vengeance, but Captain America refuses this course of action. Despite the majority of Avengers refusing to kill the Supreme Intelligence, Iron Man defies Captain America and uses his authority as an original Avenger to lead his team of vengeance-seeking Avengers to kill the Supreme Intelligence. This is Captain America in After the Storm. We join Cap at Avengers headquarters, standing at the team conference table, with the entire Avengers membership, including Black Knight, Iron Man, Goliath, Thor, Eric Masterson, She-Hulk, Black Widow, Quasar, and others in what seems to be a very serious meeting.
All in favor of having me step down as the chief executive and commanding officer of the two branches of Avengers? Signify by saying aye.
Come on, Captain. None of us is going to vote for that.
Look, you think the contingent of Avengers responsible for terminating the Supreme Intelligence, who, I might remind you, is responsible for the deaths of untold billions of Kree, ought to have some disciplinary action brought against them. The majority of us here have voted against that. That doesn't mean we want to take your job away. It just means that many of us disagree with you as far as what constitutes appropriate conduct in a time of war.
This Galactic Storm thing has left a lot of us really stressed out, Cap. All of us, the two space teams as well as the home team, busted our humps the past few weeks. How about we adjourn this debriefing already? We can always do a follow-up if need be after we've had a little R&R.
Very well. Just one last item. Tonight at 19:30, I'm giving a seminar on superhuman ethics. I urge you all to attend.
Captain? Is it mandatory? I've got to go see my boy before he forgets he even has a father.
No. Voluntary.
Just asking.
Meeting adjourned.
Phew, I've never seen Cap so tense.
Poor Steve.
Excuse me, everybody.
Hey, Quasar, stop being a show-off.
Quasar catches Cap alone in the hallway. They talk as they make their way outside of headquarters.
Say, Cap, wait up. I didn't want to bring it up back there and waste everyone else's time with it, but I was thinking of taking a leave of absence from the Avengers.
Oh?
As I told you during my membership interview way back when, the cosmic entity responsible for my quantum bands appointed me protector of the universe. And, well, I don't think I've been doing such a hot job living up to that title by staying earthbound as much as I have. Who knows? If I'd found a way to be a better protector, I might have learned about the Kree-Shi'ar War sooner and been able to save some lives.
You're thinking of leaving immediately?
I realize this is short notice, but I want to check in on the Kree Empire, see if there's anything I can do for the survivors. I do want to attend your seminar tonight, though.
Don't worry about it. You're not one of the Avengers I feel needs a lecture on ethics.
Thanks.
You'll be a hard man to replace, Quasar. But the Kree, the universe, undoubtedly needs you more than the Avengers do. Keep me posted on your activities, you hear?
Will do, sir.
And whenever you're in the vicinity, you'll always be welcome here. Once an Avenger.
Thanks, Cap. It means a lot to me. You're the greatest.
Yeah, but the greatest what?
Cap makes his way back inside and enters the communication center where Peggy Carter is on monitor duty.
Cap?
Peggy jumps up to give Cap a hug.
Oh, so good to see you back. Were you in outer space all this time? I was so worried. Sorry. You should slap me when I start acting like a mother hen.
It's all right, Peggy. The Falcon and U.S. agent were not at the debriefing. What's their mission status?
Oh, we received a call 3 days ago from your old enemy Flag Smasher. It had something to do with a friend of yours I never met, Demolition Man, and they went to investigate.
D-Man? Put a tracer on that Quinjet and call John Jameson. I want to follow up on it at once.
Sorry, Steve, but your pilot hasn't reported in since you left for space. I think he may be out looking for Diamondback.
You mean she?
Haven't heard a beep from her in almost 3 weeks.
I go away and the whole world falls apart.
We leave Cap in distress and Peggy worried. We now turn our attention to Diamondback and we see why she's been missing. She is walking on Riverside Avenue on the Upper West Side of Manhattan, and she is with her captor, Crossbones.
What's the matter, Ratzel? For weeks now, you've been begging me to let you out of our abandoned subway station hideaway. And now that I finally give in to your whining, you're embarrassing me by walking like a phoebe.
You know very well why I'm too weak to walk straight, Crossbones. I'm starving. You haven't given me a decent meal in weeks.
Yeah, I guess I have been a little bit stingy in the grub department. But you gotta admit, it did the trick. Took the fighting spirit right out of, what'd you used to call yourself? Diamond Butt? Anyway, Toots, you and me are going on a field trip. I'm sick of the big rotten apple. Give me a sec to hotwire this jalopy. Feels great to go mobile, don't it?
Where are you taking me?
I told you, babe. A field trip. I promise you, you'll like it much better than the subway. I got a nice, peaceful place in mind for you. Real peaceful. No one around but earthworms.
You're gonna bury me alive?
Not exactly.
Captain America is now in his office at Avengers headquarters. He is in uniform with his mask off, staring at a computer screen.
Organization's a mess. Keep trying to stabilize the membership, but if it's not one thing, it's another. Reserves are particularly in shambles. Spider-Man and Namor didn't respond to the emergency summons on the onset of Operation Galactic Storm. Guess I can't count on them as backups. Who's that leave? Oh, what's the use? Maybe I should throw in the towel. Maybe somebody with newer, fresher ideas could keep this ragtag group of running better than me. Seems like my style of professional behavior is out of fashion, at odds with this increasingly violent society. Maybe guys like the Punisher and Cable and Wolverine are the answer to the kind of threats America faces today. Maybe bad attitudes and lax moral codes are the only way to make headway. The values I've striven for my entire career seem so unattainable in this present climate. But without them, what am I?
Yo, Cap, you in there? It's me, Hawkeye. Or Goliath, or just plain Clint. Whatever.
There is no answer from Cap. He simply sits, lost in his own thoughts.
Need some advice deciding which costumed identity I should go with. Cap? No answer. Peggy said his computer was online, so he was probably here. Guess he left it on and slipped out.
Later, only Black Widow, Hawkeye, and Scarlet Witch wait for Cap's seminar.
Never seen Steve so tense, withdrawn. I asked him to work out with me, and he turned me down flat.
You at least got him to speak to you. I think he's been avoiding me all day.
I hope some of the others show up soon. Steve is going to be awfully disappointed when he sees this poor turnout for his seminar.
Yeah, well, a lot of the guys had to... Oh, here he comes.
Cap enters and sees the near-empty room.
1D, Iron Man, and most of the West Coast crew had to get back to their business and told me to give you their regrets.
Hercules and the Knight went to fly Gilgamesh back to Europe. Crystal's with her baby. The Vision's looking into getting his skin fixed.
I get the picture, Natasha. You three are it. The ones who really need to hear this aren't here. This is pointless. Sorry I wasted all your time.
Cap leaves disappointed.
Whoa!
Thor enters.
Sorry I'm late. Did I miss anything?
Oh, brother.
Black Widow, Hawkeye, and Scarlet Witch have retired to the kitchen.
We've got to do something for Cap. He's heading for a breakdown.
Like, what can we do, Tosh?
For starters, I think you should take him out for a night on the town.
You mean get him drunk? You gotta be.
No! Talk to him, man to man. Try to dispel the gloom he's in. You are one of his oldest friends here.
Yeah, but cheering up depressed living legends ain't one of my specialties. Sure wish the Falcon get back.
We now join Cap in his private quarters in uniform, laying on his bed, mask off, lost deep in thought. Hawkeye enters in uniform with his mask off and without knocking.
Okay, old-timer, enough moping around. You and me are going out.
Can't, Clint. I've got to stay here. I'm waiting for word about some missing Avengers and some missing support personnel, and I want to be here when...
Get out of here. Peggy can beep you on your card wherever you are. Now come on, I ain't taking no for an answer. Here, take off the union suit and put these on.
Clint,
Don't make me get rough with you, man. I intend to use your bed as a trampoline to get off that flabby red, white, and blue backside of yours. Think I care if jumping on the bed's against the bylaws?
Okay, Clint. Stop. You win.
We leave Hawkeye in his attempts to cheer up Cap and turn our attention to somewhere in New Jersey, following the car that Crossbones stole with Diamondback helpless in the passenger seat.
Look, Cross, I've told you everything I know about Captain America already. His shoe size, what he likes to eat for breakfast, his unlisted extension, the kind of music he listens to. What more do you want from me?
Plenty more, Ratzel. Plenty more. That junk you told me would be great if I was writing a profile for People magazine, but it's nothing that's going to get me back in tight with the Red Skull.
Crossbones pulls them into a gas station.
What are we doing here?
You're going to make a phone call. I want you to call up Cappy and tell him you're spending a few weeks skiing with an old friend. You say exactly that, with no mess-ups, and I promise I'll rustle you up some chow. You act up, I'll see you starve.
Okay.
Diamondback stumbles to a payphone. We see Peggy Carter in the communications room receive the call, with Black Widow standing over her shoulder.
This is Rachel Layton. I'm skiing with an old friend of mine. Tell Cap he shouldn't worry. Rachel? This is Peggy. Don't hang up. Rachel. I should call Cap. He's been waiting for some word from her.
No, Steve needs one night away from all his problems.
But he...
I know, he's very concerned about her, but the message you'd pass on to him is so sparse, it would only serve to agitate him further. Here's what I'll do. Hop on a sky cycle, check out that number, see if Diamondback's okay. Please, Peggy, wait to call him till you hear from me.
Cap respects your judgment enough to have appointed you deputy leader, Natasha. All right.
Speaking of Cap and his one night away, we now see Steve and Clint out of uniform as Cap and Hawkeye and in their civilian clothing on the Lower West Side entering the Laughing Horse Bar.
Are we almost there yet? Or are you lost?
Hey, it's been a few years since I called this burg home, Stevie. Got me a little slack, huh? Besides, we're here.
This is your idea of
Of a bar? Yeah, let's go in. I'll tell you my theory. There's 3 kinds of bars. Yuppie bars, low-life bars, and old men bars.
And what's this?
A low-life bar, of course. They're the most fun.
I don't know about this, Clint. This is really not my kind of scene.
What are you talking about, man? You used to always lecture me about training myself to adapt to any situation I find myself in. Well, were you just blowing smoke?
Where should we sit?
What'll it be?
A pitcher of tap, my good woman, and 2 frosty mugs.
Come on, Clint. You know I don't drink. I'm a role model for...
Not tonight, you aren't. Tonight, you're just a regular Joe.
But I'm not. I can't even bring myself to pretend to be anymore, Clint. I realized some time ago that every time I've tried to put together a regular life for myself, it soon fell apart. Finally, I realized I had a choice to be a good Captain America or a lousy Steve Rogers. Guess which one I chose?
So you don't have any civilian friends anymore?
No. They've mostly all fallen by the wayside. The Avengers and the headquarters crew are the only people in my life right now. And even they're slipping away. The Avengers may not have voted me out this morning, but as tonight's seminar proved, I've lost the ability to inspire them.
If that's what you think, then you ought to quit, Steve. You'll see how much they need you then. Wait, I know, I'll quit too. And the 2 of us can form our own team. Yeah, and we'll only let guys who have strong ethical principles like ourselves join. What do you say?
No, Clint, that's nuts. I'm not about to compete with the Avengers for criminals to fight and emergencies to handle.
Well, then maybe you ought to just take a leave of absence?
No, the Avengers need me. Galactic Storm has left our ranks very unstable.
Steve, just for once, why don't you put your own needs in front of those of others? Listen to me. As your friend, I'm telling you, you need some time off from the grind. You're heading for job burnout. If that happens, you're not going to be no good to the Avengers or to yourself.
I don't know.
There must be something you need to do, Steve, just for yourself, just to get back on even keel.
Well, actually, there is. I was in this relationship with this woman. I guess I took things too slowly, never once let her know how I felt about her.
Then do something about it. Take her in your arms and tell her, man.
I can't. She's one of the missing persons I told you about.
Oh. I'm a fine one to give advice about relationships with my own marriage on the rocks. I ought to practice what I preach.
If I could just...
Steve!
Tony Stark? Here?
Peggy told me where you guys were. You mind if I join you?
Tony has just entered the bar and joined Steve and Clint at their table.
Sorry I missed your seminar. I had a lot of Stark Enterprises business to attend to in LA. I just made it back.
I wasn't expecting you anyway, Anthony.
Right. Clint, Steve and I need to talk alone. You mind making yourself scarce for a bit?
What? Okay. Feel like shooting some pool anyway.
Our relationship has been on the rocks for much too long, Steve. I'd like to clear the air, if that's possible.
A drink?
Yeah, Diet Coke. Let's start with where it went sour. My armor wars.
Where you broke into a government penitentiary, caused a jailbreak, we fought, you sucker punched me, and ran, promising me an explanation for the necessity of your action when it was all over. Instead, you publicly blamed your outrageous behavior on a renegade Iron Man. And when you sent word you wanted to see me, you didn't try to explain one blessed thing. You just said that we were likely to play on the same team at some point in the future, so we'd better call a truce to our differences. You didn't even try to justify your criminal actions. I was so stunned, I couldn't even press you on it.
Things got out of hand, Steve. Once I started trying to confiscate all my stolen technology, I just became so obsessed. I had to pursue it to its logical end. I knew you could never understand that. You don't believe the ends justify the means. So I didn't even bother. In retrospect, I should have at least tried.
That brings us to the events of the past few weeks. You surrendered our team of Avengers to the Kree militia without consulting me, the team leader. The decision to gamble with our lives was not one you should have made unilaterally. Yes, I know it happened to work out in our favor. Then, after Cersei pulled our fat out of the fire, you got steamed with the way she did it and decided to go your separate way. The heck with the rest of us.
I just couldn't afford to have Cersei mess with my armor again, Steve. It's not just my source of power, it's my life support.
And finally, most critically, you were one of the ringleaders of the Avengers Execution Squad, who stormed off to terminate the Supreme Intelligence.
I truly believe that conventional standards of morality are inapplicable in times of war.
It wasn't our decision to make, Tony. He should have been put on trial, like the war criminals of World War II.
And you left out that I abandoned you on the Kree homeworld to go after the Negabomb.
I can understand that one, Tony. I'd have made the same decision.
Elsewhere, Black Widow is following up on Diamondback's phone call to Avengers headquarters.
This is the phone Diamondback called from. A payphone. No sign of her. I'll ask the station attendant if he saw anything.
And in a wooded field about 20 miles away from Black Widow and the payphone.
Cross, I did what you said. What are you doing? Where are you taking me?
Right here, Toots. This is a former Fallout shelter where that muty Magneto imprisoned the Red Skull a few months back. Don't know how Mags found it, but you can bet your bottom he figured it was a good place to stick somebody he didn't want disturbed. And here's the rope I left last time. Climb down.
But I don't think I'm strong enough to.
Climb down or fall down. Ha! A mere 10-foot drop. Nothing to it, huh? Look around, Ratzel. This is our new home. We're going to be spending a lot of time down here, you and me. Down here in our hidey hole, I'm going to become your best friend. I'm going to teach you how to be exactly like me. I'm going to teach you the toughness you need to survive.
No.
Funny, ain't it? After all these years, you're finally getting what you want. I'm finally going to let you join my gang.
We leave Crossbones and Diamond back in that underground bunker and return to our scene in the Manhattan bar with Steve and Tony.
After the bomb exploded, and we were revived from that weird thing Cersei did to us, I looked around in a daze, thinking, where's Cap? Then I remembered you were still on Hala. Probably dead. You may choose to disbelieve this if you want. But that thought made me... Well, look, I'm not the crying kind, Steve. I didn't cry at my own father's funeral. But right then and there, I realized that in this crazy business we're in, there's no one I'd miss more than you. And well, you're an inspiration to me, Steve. To a lot of us. We may not think like you or act like you, but we still respect you and appreciate what you do and the way you do it. You're an idealist in a world that is far from ideal. I don't know how you can do it. How you can keep all the ugliness from getting to you, hardening you. I can't. I'm not as perfect as you. Forgive me.
Tony, I'm not perfect either. I'm sometimes too quick to judge, too slow to forgive. I appreciate how much courage it took to come here, in a bar of all places, and to level with me, like you just did. I'm really sorry our ideological differences bent our friendship out of shape. I miss having you as my friend. I'd like us to let bygones be bygones.
So would I.
Tony and Steve's friendship is sealed with a handshake as Tony exits the bar.
Tony left, Clint. I'm going back to the mansion.
Hold on, I'll go with you. Soon as Fats here's pays up.
Steve and Clint return to Avengers headquarters. U.S. Agent, Falcon, and D-Man are waiting for them.
U.S. Agent?
About time you came crawling in, Rogers.
Where's the Falcon? Where's...
Right around the corner.
Steve!
Cap sees D-Man.
Dennis. Dennis, it's you. What happened to you? I thought you'd... to heck with what I thought. It's really great to see you, man.
Wow, is Steve ever happy? If this doesn't yank him out of the funk he's been in, nothing will. Yo, Agent. You did good for once. So what took so long? I thought you guys were missing in action.
Hey, Barton. We had a lot of ultimatum agents to take into custody. Then we developed engine trouble. Why am I explaining it to you?
Your friend's really out of it, Steve. Whatever happened to him in the Arctic must have traumatized him.
I'll get him the best medical attention available. Agent.
Yeah?
Thanks. I owe you, pal.
Him? Calling me pal?
Maybe things will work out for me yet. Maybe, in the words of Lennon and McCartney, I'll get by with a little help from my friends.
And that, true believers, is the end.
Well, Bob, how fun was that? We have our first community theater in the books. Gotta say, won't be the last.
That I hope not. I hope not. I think everybody had a lot of fun. The final product is amazing. I think a lot of people are going to really enjoy listening to it. And as I said before, just the community aspect of it, folks getting together to share what they love with each other in a fun, innocent way. Both adults and kids, you and your son, just a really neat thing. I hope we do it again.
I think we're going to try to schedule it, around Michael, and try to do this, every year, maybe around this time. That'd be fun.
Yeah, it would be. It would be. I'd like the idea of making it a tradition. I think that would go down well with everybody.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Thank you to everybody who was involved. All of our listeners who were involved and patrons and as I mentioned, our director and to Bob, thank you for all your efforts as well. It was a group effort and I had so much fun.
Yep. So, and it's in the history books.
You know what's in the future, Bob? I already mentioned some of these, so I'm just going to go ahead and tell you the next 4 episodes. You ready for this?
All right, fire them off.
Next episode 201, we're going to kick off our next long tail story, which is Secret Empire, and written by Steve Englehart and drawn by Sal Buscema. And this is the famous early 70s story that is in direct reaction to what is going on with Watergate and Nixon and Captain America's Crisis of Faith. So first Wednesday of every month, we will be doing a chapter from that story. And then in episode 202, we're going to do our next recap, which I've mentioned before, is the Deadpool and Wolverine and Captain America story called The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly. And so we're doing a recap of that. John Sewell is going to be a guest on the show, and he'll help us do that. Then in episode 203, we're going to cover the Avengers Curse of the Man-Thing one shot. And that's written by Steve Orlando. It's a little bit of a supernatural story starring the Avengers, but there's a lot of Captain America in it, which is why I was cool with bringing it here. And then, of course, the next episode after that, 204, will have writer Steve Orlando on the show. So that's our next month. And then, listen, as long as you guys keep listening and keep watching, as long as we have a few patrons, we will continue to do this. And Bob, as long as you're my partner, I want to continue to do this for another 300 episodes.
Sounds good to me. Let's do it.
I said 300, but
yeah, why not? Yeah. Why not?
He's Bob Lucius. I'm Rick Verbanis, and thank you for listening to this episode, and thank you for rating, for reviewing, for subscribing. If you're on YouTube, please give us a thumbs up. Leave a comment. As you can see, we love your comments, and we'll hopefully read some of them here. And as always, we thank you for listening to Captain America Comic Book Fans Podcast.